fifth speech out of the County Committee here in Manual, Your Body Speaks. And what is your title, Brett?
Permaculture.
Permaculture.
What's your time?
5 to 7. Mark, I put the title on Easy Speech.
Let's welcome Brett Duncan and Permaculture.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. You may be wondering why I'm wearing a necktie. I'm trying to keep up with Mark. Actually, it's my birthday today. This is my 62nd birthday.
Wow.
All right.
So I decided to wear my birthday necktie.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Birthday tie. How cool is that?
Keep on keeping on. In my last speech on April 18th, I made a statement that new trends in agriculture are not really new at all. Rather, they're just a rediscovery of the methods that our ancestors, the practices that they employed. Tonight, I would like to talk about permaculture. And I would like to talk about permaculture, describe it to you, its ethical basis, and also share an example of a permaculture project that is being proposed in South Holden County. Permaculture is a design discipline that mirrors or mimics the natural design. It's the contraction of two words, permanent and agriculture, that would come together means permaculture. So this is a whole way of thinking that is being employed to basically reverse and start to repair the damage that we've done to the earth by having sustainable agriculture, sustainable fisheries, actually extracting from the land in a way that makes sense, that doesn't destroy. We actually give back to the ecology of the land. Permaculture is a holistic design system using nature as our model. It's the shortcut, permaculture is the shortcut to the older wisdom that enabled humanity to thrive in harmony with the earth for 3 million years, up until the agricultural revolution where we lost our way. The concept of a design system that pairs together the old wisdom plus ethics is actually culturally shattering. It leads us away from the failed story that the world belongs to man. And it leads us rather back to what the humankind used for 99.7% of our human existence, the fact that humanity belongs to the earth. So just the other way around. Some people talk about this as a leaver culture. It means that we leave more than we take, as contrasted with what we see around us in the modern world of a taker culture, which actually has destructive consequences to the environment and also to our societies. Is there a limit to resource extraction, industrial agriculture, and pollution? Interestingly, when somebody wants to build a new house or a new building, one of the questions is they have to provide parking space. Well, why don't we say one of the conditions need to be that they need to provide gardening space? There are 3 ethics that permaculture is based upon. Number 1, care of the earth. Number 2, care of the people. And number 3, share the surplus. So care of the earth, what that means is to provide for all life systems that they can continue and multiply. Care of the people means to provide for people the access to the resources that they need to live in a sustainable manner. Share the surplus by setting limits on consumption, by governing our own needs. We can actually increase the resources that are available for others. Now that I've talked about permaculture and whetted your appetite to understand a little bit more about it, I'd actually like to describe a project that is being proposed right now in South Alabama. It's a permaculture demonstration project for coastal wetlands. There's actually 4 components of this project. This is being proposed right now. There's a 120-acre site in South Alabama. 60% of it is wetlands of this property. So using agriculture, using aquaculture, using tourism, and also access for handicapped, say veterans that are wounded warriors that are handicapped, this is a component of the project design as well. Aquaculture, we plan on growing 3 species. So what happens is we cut swells, which are actually like ditches, and we do that in order to increase the water retention. In those ditches, we actually aquaculture. One of the species that we plan to grow is off-bottom oyster culture, where we actually grow oysters in cages. The cages prevent the predators from attacking those oysters. We also plan to grow hard-shell clams. We also plan to have the soft-shell crab culture. Interestingly, is that one of the topics, one of the principles of permaculture design is to think about the edges. That means where the water and the land meet is actually a prolific area that produces a lot of vitality, a lot of energy, a lot of life. So we actually plan on growing 3 species along the edges of those swells or ditches. The first being marsh grass. Actually now there's a lot of money coming through the restore activity to do restoration of coastal marshes. What they need are plugs of marsh grass to go in, and we're actually going to grow those in our environment. Secondly, we're going to grow herbs and spices that we're going to sell to the 5-star restaurants in a 5-state surrounding area. And lastly, we're going to grow taro. I don't know if you're familiar with taro, but a lot of in the Orient that is actually part of the nutritive diet, especially in Hawaii, where they use taro as the basis of something called poi, which is a mainstay in Hawaii as far as their diet is concerned. Interestingly, there are 2 types of taro. There's the cultivated type of taro, which is edible, and there's the wild taro, which is not edible because it has too high of an oxalic acid content. Interestingly, is that in Florida right now, the wild taro is actually choking the canals in Florida. There may be an opportunity that we can actually change that invasive species of wild taro and put the cultivatable type there that is edible, and then train people how to cut that and prepare that in order to free up the canals in Florida. We're going to have an ecotourism lodge with overnight accommodations, and we'll also operate a challenge program for wounded, handicapped veterans. So we will build handicap compliant facilities, including, independent cottages that are connected by a raised boardwalk that the people that are wheelchair compliant. We actually plan on sinking a shrimp boat in the river, and we're going to name that Miss Jenny, with Forrest Gump movie type. So then the veterans will actually be able to access that boat on the back deck and take the bulwarks off. They can actually rod and reel fish over the side. We're also going to have a rifle shooting program for handicapped vets. We'll use the permaculture principles to obtain the maximum economic model for coastal wetlands. This project is now in the proposal stage. At some point, we're going to need a lot of volunteers that want to get their hands dirty. So I'll keep you all advised in case, later on you want to be volunteering to be a part of our project. To recap, I'd like to restate the 3 permaculture ethics. Number 1, care of the earth. Number 2, care of the people. Number 3, share the surplus. Remember, there's no limit to what we can accomplish when no one cares who gets the credit. Thanks, sir.
And Thank you, Brett. All right. That was very informative, Brett. Learned a lot, thank you. The next part of the meeting will be table topics. I think that we're going to have to abandon our usual principle of never leaving the lectern since our topic master is on his laptop.
Well, actually, JR, I'm going to suggest that so we don't give up on that, because I think it's important that we keep the lecture covered.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to remain at the lecture until the first table topic presenter comes up.
And just rotate.
And as the presenters finish, wait at the lecture until the next speaker comes up.
Okay. Good plan. So, also, one thing that I forgot earlier on, my apologies, is the word of the day. So please, Lauren, you mind giving us that?
Okay, the word of the day is codswallop. Codswallop. Codswallop is British slang that means nonsense or rubbish. Nonsense or rubbish. Codswallop. I don't have any actual statement that has this in it right now, but codswallop is nonsense or rubbish, and it came about sometime around the early 1960s was the first time it's used. So codswallop.
It's a great word.
Well, let's just codswallop.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, with this side finished, help me welcome Mark, our topic master.
Thank you, JR. And I think we'll just go around the room. So, Woody, will you be our first table topic person?
Sure. Okay. I'll just come up here.
And if you walk up to the lectern.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Topic Master, or Sir Topic Master. Okay.
Okay, Memorial Day is coming up.
Right.
Memorial Day is a holiday that got its beginnings after the Civil War. Originally called Decoration Day, where the graves of soldiers were decorated. Often included a potluck dinner along with decorating. What does Memorial Day mean to your family?
Okay. What does Memorial Day mean to my family? Well, I'm sure I've had relatives in the past. My father was in the Korean War, and my grandfather during World War II was one of the people that was building the ships that we were sending overseas. But Memorial Day to me personally, I'm kind of a big buff of World War II, and I've watched a lot of movies and read a lot about World War II, and I see the sacrifices that people made during World War II. That generation, I think America came together as one, and every man, woman, and child in this country fought for something that was our freedom. Because the truth of the matter is, had we lost World War II, had Germany won and Japan won, there's a pretty good chance we'd all be speaking German. So we were pretty desperate. But we had men and women who laid their lives on the line and made enormous sacrifices and went through things that we can only imagine. You know, some of the hardships that, if you watch some of the footage of the battles of Armageddon, not Armageddon, what was that? The Battle of the Bulge. Right around Christmas time.
Oregon or something.
Yeah, Oregon Forest or whatever. These men were subjected to sub-zero temperatures. They didn't have the right equipment. A lot of them didn't even have gloves. And a lot of them were slaughtered, quite honestly. But they didn't stop fighting. They were courageous, and they believed in what they were fighting for. And I don't know if the generation we have now, or even my generation, I don't know that we'd be willing to do that. But since they did that, and they made such huge sacrifices, I think we should always try to remember what they went through so that we as free people can have a free country and as well as a free world. So, and I think we tend to forget. And it wasn't only World War II. Every war, even Vietnam. I kind of grew up. I was a little too young for Vietnam, but I remember a lot of the footage, and I watched the pictures on it, and the atrocities that were committed to our troops in Vietnam and to the Vietnamese people were just unbelievable. The things that people, like someone mentioned earlier, Jeremiah Denton. The things that were done to Jeremiah Denton when he was in prisoner of war camp are just unthinkable. But many hundreds of thousands of people have sacrificed for this country for us to be where we are today. And I think Memorial Day, what it means to me is we should look back and thank these people or at least thank the memory of these people for what they did, because without their sacrifices, we wouldn't have this country, and this would not be a free world. Mr. Toastmaster.
I think to stay up there actually until the next person comes.
Oh, okay. I'll stop here.
Yeah, so actually, JR will be our next tabletop.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
JR, what is your favorite holiday? Why is it your favorite holiday?
Mr. Topic Master, that's an interesting question, because I've noticed recently that my attitude towards holidays has evolved. And when I was a kid, I used to look forward to Easter and Christmas with so much anticipation. I just couldn't wait for the day to arrive. And when it did, it was the best thing in the world. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was mostly the presents, probably. Presents and candy. You know, when you're a kid, you're not hard to please. So I think the prospect of stuffing myself on chocolate or getting a new video game or a Lego excited me that much. But as I've gotten older, I've noticed that there isn't as much thrill going into it. You still enjoy getting presents, of course, but I guess that you're a little less avaricious as an adult, or what is it at? You're more attached to money, less attached to objects, I suppose. So I don't look forward to it with the same amount of anticipation. But I've noticed that I enjoy different parts of it. So whereas family used to be kind of an unnoticed side effect of holidays, when you're older it becomes one of the focal points. And seeing your family is one of the best parts of Christmas. And I've also noticed lately that my old friends back home and I don't see each other very often, since we've kind of dispersed throughout the country. So that's another big perk of holidays, is that I get to go home, and since everyone celebrates Christmas the same day, I also see my friends who are also going home to my hometown in Hilton Head. As for my favorite holiday, that's tough. I think it's probably still Christmas. That's always been my favorite holiday. I think it still is. It's the one that has most nostalgia attached to it. I think partly because, winter is one of our main milestones. Every year you feel winter coming on. You feel the same memories that you've gathered throughout all the years you've been alive. Maybe it's also winter forces people inside. So you make memories with your family of staying in your house, by the fireplace, eating meals together. So I would say Christmas is still my favorite holiday, Mr. Topic Master.
All right, thank you. Maurice,
Yes,
can you speak next?
I can.
Maurice, you already talked about Christmas, his favorite holiday. What is your least favorite holiday? And why do you not like it?
And Mr. Topic Master, over the years, similar to what JR said, my feelings of holidays have changed. And actually, before I get into what my least favorite holiday is, or attempt to say what my least favorite holiday is, I'll go back to Christmas. over the past couple years, I really felt like it was almost another day. Not that I'm anti-Christmas or into the commercialism. I just felt, I guess, as at peace. Not too excited, not excited, and not sad. Now, my least favorite holiday. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I will make an attempt to come up with a least favorite holiday. And it seems like whatever I attempt to do, I can't really come up with the least favorite. I can tell you my pros and cons on different holidays, but I can't sum it up to a least favorite holiday. Because I have good points and bad points about different holidays, but there's not one that I really say I don't like. So at that, I will end my table topic speech.
All right.
Topic master and next speaker.
All right. Lawrence, will you be our next table topic speaker?
Thank you, sir.
Lawrence, Mobile is one of the few places that has an official city holiday for Mardi Gras. Can you tell us about a holiday that's celebrated somewhere else that isn't celebrated in Mobile?
Well, Mr. Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, I'm sure that if you go to just about any area in the world, you'll find that there are holidays that are celebrated that we don't celebrate here. If you go to the Orient, of course, they would have holidays that we never even would think about. I know that within probably 20 miles of where we are, there are 5 Buddhist temples. And they celebrate New Year's Day on 3 or 4 different days throughout the year, depending on which country they come from and what calendar they follow. They have Buddha's birthday that they celebrate at various different times. Now, if you go up into the northern part of the Midwest, you might have a big celebration of lutefish, which is kind of a very interesting thing. And you have, if you go out into the near the mountains, they might celebrate holidays based on, I can't think of his name now. The big giant guy that had the bull.
Bunyan?
Yeah, Paul Bunyan. They have a celebration of Paul Bunyan. If you go to Grand Bay, they have a city holiday of the Watermelon Festival. So I think everywhere that you go, they have a holiday. Now, many of these holidays might be just cod swallow, but it's still something that they do. Mr. Topic Master.
Thank you, Lawrence. Hedrick, will you be your next table topic speaker?
Sure. Thanks, Lawrence.
Hedrick, if you were given the responsibility to develop a new holiday to celebrate in Mobile, what would that new holiday be?
Okay. Thank you, Mark. I think we're all members here, so
sorry. So, if I had the responsibility to develop the next holiday for Mobile, I think it would probably revolve around football. So generally, when the University of Alabama does make it to the national championship game, at least where I've worked for several different years, several places, the day following the game or the days leading up to the game, the work environment is almost like a holiday because everyone's taking off to prepare for the game and they take off to recover, hopefully, of an Alabama win. So that being, taking that into consideration, I think I would prefer to institute the holiday of Alabama's next national championship, whatever you would call that. So I'm not quite sure what number they're on this past season, but we would do maybe like an N+1 to their championship streak for the date to commemorate the win. So what I would have with that holiday would I would probably also recommend, that's part of the development, that everyone make sure that they're focused when they get back to work the next day. Make sure you don't be that sore loser or that sore winner. Hopefully not a sore winner. We wouldn't want your activities to be cod swallowed, if possible. And I think that would pretty much sum up what the development process would be for the University of Alabama's national championship holiday.
Thank you.
I don't recognize who was sitting next to Keeter. Is that a guest?
I'm not sure if she's on the guest or an official member. Are you?
Ewing, what's your name?
Yeah, Ewing.
Yeah, Ewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on the list. She's on the guest list. Mark.
Who is that?
Ewing.
Ewing. Did you say that right?
Ewing.
Yeah, Ewing.
Oh,
Ewing, okay.
Sorry. I was looking at the back of your head. Okay. Sorry. Can you give our next table topic speech?
Oh, I'll try. Okay.
It's all yours.
Good, no worries.
We're going to elect a new president.
What?
Do you make the presidential election thing a national holiday every 4 years?
So what is your question?
Do you
He's
think that?
asking, do you think that having a presidential election day would be a good holiday to have every 4 years?
Call it Cosmo Day.
Yeah, I think that yes, because this is a big season for our country. So I think that it should be like a holiday, and the people can watch the TV, and the new president gave the speech to the whole country. So, yeah, I think that should be like a holiday. That's all.
Okay. Is there one next?
Yeah, and
Okay. You have to go back up.
All right, thank you, Mark. Those are good questions, especially considering that I think you had them on the fly, essentially. Now we'll move on. Next part of our meeting is the evaluation portion. So let's introduce our general evaluator, Keeter Fedaway.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Okay, so For our evaluation segment, I'm serving as the general evaluator tonight, as well as the evaluator for Brett's speech. Brett's speech was his fifth speech, is that correct? Fifth? Okay. Fifth speech from the Competent Communications Manual. And basically I'll go down the list of, there's basically just a checklist that he printed out for a speech. So I thought the topic selection was satisfactory. I thought the preparation was excellent. The manner of the speech, the delivery, you were very confident. You were enthusiastic about it. So a note for that is, I think maybe this is a topic that you have worked with before, or no?
First time.
First time, okay. Well, you fooled me, because I don't think I would have had the energy that you had talking about permaculture. So I applaud you for that. You had a very insightful speech. So gestures, natural body movement, I checked off purposeful and smooth. You made great eye contact. The purpose of the speech was very clear. And you, as far as the facial expressions, I gave you a satisfactory. I still think you did well with everything on the speech. So, and then the organization the speech was logical and clear. So the first question, what could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I felt Brett's speech was spot on and it was very effective. Don't think you could have done much more to improve the speech and all. And what did I like about the speech? So I've already mentioned this, but I thought it was very insightful, well organized, had good flows and transitions, and you had very detailed knowledge of the subject matter. So enjoyed it, and I think that may be something I could possibly be interested in, a little bit more research. So good job, Brett. I mean, yeah, Brett. I'm sorry. Okay, so that concludes my evaluation. So the next member of the evaluation team is, we need to have our timers report, okay, and that's going to be from Woody.
Okay, let's see, Brett's speech was 9:29. Table topics, Woody was 3 minutes. JR was 2:18. Maurice was 2:04. Lawrence was 1 minute 54 seconds. Kendrick, 2 minutes 12 seconds. Ewing, did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 29 seconds. And Kendrick, your evaluation of Brett was 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, Woody. Okay, so we have Lawrence as our grammarian this evening.
Yes. This evening we had actually quite a few. I did quite a few ahs and ums myself. Brett had a couple of ahs and ums. He also had a few times when he used double wording, where you started the sentence and then stopped and started the sentence again. And that was a little bit of something that you might look at in the future. We were able to use the word of the day twice this evening. Kedrick used it, and also I used it once. And Brett used it a number of times, but that was before we started counting, so too bad. Okay, once again, Maurice also had some double wording where you started a sentence and then you stopped and started the sentence over again. That's something that you can work on. You had one ah or that I noticed. Kedrick, as I said, used the word of the day and had one that I found. Otherwise, everyone did very well this evening. So that is my grammarian's report. And I don't know enough grammar to tell you whether you used your words in the proper order or not.
Thank you, Lawrence. Okay, so as part of my role as a general evaluator this evening is to evaluate the speech, the meeting as a whole. The meeting started on time. One thing that we did have to do, and I'm not really sure if it's natural, but it seems like it's starting to happen a lot more often, is we're having to kind of shovel a little bit more once we get here due to people not showing up or miscommunication. So I think if we could possibly find a way to work on that, I'm not sure. I mean, that things come up in everybody's lives, but if you can give advance notice that you're not going to be here. I know I've done it myself sometimes where I don't find out until late that I'm not going to show up, but if we have that knowledge beforehand, it makes it a lot easier for everybody that's involved with the meeting for the night. But other than that, I thought the meeting ran well, and I'm going to relinquish the lecture back over to our Toastmasters.
Thank you, Kedrick. Do we have somebody giving an educational overview?
I could give a quick overview. That would work if anyone doesn't have something else. I'm good at spontaneous things.
Okay.
All right, this evening I'd like to talk about preparation for the meeting. Kedrick already brought it up a little bit, but I would like to talk a little bit more about it. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, before the meeting actually started, it would be very good for everyone, if you could, to try to create some pocket speeches. Now, I personally am going through and redoing the Competent Communicator Manual, and I'm creating pocket speeches based on those criteria. And I know actually one of the speakers that I saw when I went to a district meeting was a gentleman who actually had 15 times done his Competent Communicator. And one of the times that he did his Competent Communicator, what he did was he actually did the same speech for every one, all 10 of his speeches. He did the same speech, but every time he did it with a different focus. So the first time, of course, was introducing himself, but then from the second one on, he started to use body language and do research it and so on. So every speech he changed it a little bit to fit whatever topic was in that particular section. So I would highly recommend that everyone try to get a pocket speech. Then if somebody is supposed to be giving a speech and something else comes up, I think Tammy was supposed to give a speech and then she had to work tonight because someone was sick, so she was unable to attend, if I remember correctly. But anyways, that would make it so that now that space is open. If somebody had a pocket speech, they could have slid right in there, got extra credit in their program, and it would have been a beautiful thing. So that is something that we could work on. Again, as Kedrick was saying, we do want to focus a little bit on being more responsible when we are dealing with our meetings. If you know that you're not going to be at a meeting, it would be a good thing to communicate that as soon as possible. If you know you're going to be at the meeting, that also can be communicated as soon as possible. That way, it's a possibility that the Vice President of Education could see that someone's not going to be there and maybe send out a couple of emails to see if he could find someone who would like to take the place of that person who can't show up. So if we take responsibility for our club and try to put that information on Easy Speak, then that would make it a lot easier for everyone to be able to do the things they need to do. And we've talked about this before. I know that Brett was saying he put the information in and it didn't show up. One of the things you have to remember if you put information in is you have to hit the little button at the top that says save, or else that information may not be logged in to that. And I don't know if that was the problem in your case or if it was something else, but that always is something that you want to do. So when you log in and say, yes, I'm going to be there, you hit the little save button, and then we will know that you are capable of being in that position. And I know we also, at least I also get a notice every time that I'm supposed to be part of a meeting, asking me if I want to be a part of that meeting and take that responsibility. It's very easy to just hit the yes button, and it will automatically go to that page on Easy Speak where you can put that in if you're logged into Easy Speak already. Go ahead, sir.
You know, in my case, I agreed to be doing the speech. And then at a separate time, I went back and I wrote the name of
Right.
the speech. So it was not the same action, it was two different actions.
Right.
And I don't know if there's two different parts of Easy Speak or not, or if it's possible to change things at a future date.
Yes, it's always possible to change it.
That might have been the issue.
And there is a save button at the top. So when you make a change, you have to hit the save button. And that, again, I'm not sure what you did, what you didn't do, but that is something that I've done, that I've missed a few times, and I didn't figure it out until one day I noticed that little save button up at the top, and when I hit that, it changed everything, made it a permanent change. So anyways, we are...
There is a second section for requesting speeches, and it's a little more complicated to get the speech information correct in Easy Speak.
Okay. All right, so let us try to be a little bit more responsible with our meeting and for things that we do in our meeting. And that is the end of my educational program. Did you have a question? No? Okay.
All right, thank you, Lawrence. Just a quick reminder, next week there is no meeting for Memorial Day. It'll be on their holiday. The week afterwards, Mark, do we have job assigned?
We do.
Okay.
And thanks, Kedrick, for confirming that you won't be at the next meeting. That gives me time to reassign the reserve speaker. So if everybody, if you know you're not going to be at a particular meeting, just go in there and confirm that you won't be at a particular meeting. Or if you have doubts, just click on the question mark. And that way I will try not to assign you a critical role in the meeting. So on June 6th, I've got Davis scheduled to give his icebreaker. I also have Luke Green scheduled to give his 8th speech. I haven't heard back from Luke in a while. Has anybody?
No, I've been meaning to get a hold of him. I'm supposed to be I am his mentor, so I'm supposed to be in contact with him on a regular basis, and I kind of dropped the ball on that just a hair when he joined the other club also. So I have to get a hold of him and see what he's going to do.
Okay. And you know, if he's only going to attend on an occasional basis, I'll mark him that way, and then we won't schedule him for a critical role, like speaker. I've got Heather scheduled as the reserve speaker. Maurice is the Toastmaster. Woody is the general evaluator. And Kendra is scheduled to be table topics master.
Okay.
And that's the next meeting that we're gonna have.
All right, thanks, Mark. With that, I guess I'll turn control of the meeting back to our president. Lawrence.
Very good, thank you, sir. All right, that's pretty much all the information we have for this evening's meeting. I want to thank everybody for coming, and I hope that you all enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. If you're going out on the road, please be safe, because there's a lot of crazy people out there on those holiday weekends. Is there anything anyone else has for the good of the meeting or the good of the club?
Just one thing on John Beecham. I did get in contact with John Beecham. He says he's going to attempt to come to one more. He's in the process of moving right now, but he says, I guess by the first or second week in June, if he doesn't come, he probably won't be coming.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You'll let me know if he wants to give a speech on that last meeting.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Well, I guess that's the end of the meeting. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.